Hey, good morning. I wanted to share with you about my Hashimoto's journey and how I put my Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition where apparently the body attacks the thyroid. But I wanted to share with you how, yes, I put that into remission. And I have to say remission or management, and you'll notice this about my other videos about chronic fatigue and things like that, is I never say heal, because the internet is really funny about things like that and doesn't like you declaring to the world you've healed yourself of something. Maybe it does if you use big pharma stuff, but as a general rule of thumb, it doesn't like it, so we don't say those sorts of things. So anyway, a couple of years back, as I've shared in some of my videos, I started to collapse quite dramatically. On my feet, on the floor, wailing and stuff like this. And I went and had a lot of tests done in the hospital and stuff, and they found lots of issues, which was a real surprise to me, being super healthy, super on it. I recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome and various other things, IBS and stuff, and I was shocked. And from that point, I started to feel really bloody lousy, pain and fatigue and various other things were going on. So I started to research some of the things that had come up in the tests, and I read, watched, and searched out every book, video, article I could on the thyroid, on Hashimoto's, on autoimmune conditions, and I started making changes straight away. And I was told or read and watched that you should take high strength selenium, so I was taking selenium XL and zinc and magnesium, and what else was I doing? There was a whole range of supplements that are really good for the thyroid, and so I was taking all of those. And I was also I cut out completely the gluten and the soya in my diet, because I wasn't eating a huge amount of either, but I had started eating a bit more of both of them, because I didn't have any IBS symptoms anymore and hadn't done for a few years. But what I found out in my research was that gluten and soya, or soy if you're in the States, they can make their way through the walls of the intestines of the digestive system, and they work their way into the blood. And what happens is, because they're not meant to be there, they get stored, and they get stored in all of the places where we are said to have very popular autoimmune conditions, so skin, thyroid, that kind of thing. And actually what all the research that I looked into suggests is that these autoimmune conditions are not the body just randomly attacking parts of itself like we are led to believe for no apparent reason, but actually they are attacking foreign bodies that are being stored in our body that shouldn't be there. So they are attacking the thyroid, but because the gluten is there. So if you stop consuming gluten and soya, because that does the same, you need to cut them out completely. You can't just have a little bit here and there. They need to go completely. So if you can stop consuming those, then at least you're not putting more into the system for the body to attack. And then slowly but surely the autoimmune feelings should start to subside, and it did. For the next year or so, I was much better, and quite quickly, on taking all these supplements. I was also taking desiccated thyroid supplement made from cows, which was a big thing for me because I've been a very strict vegetarian for over 30 years. But it was that or take their drugs again, their thyroxine again. I'm definitely not doing that. That is a mild steroid, and it stops the body. It basically shrivels up the thyroid after a while because it's not needed anymore. So yeah, I was taking those, really strict off the gluten and soy, and just generally looking after myself well, which I've been doing before. I never consumed high amounts of sugars and things like that, which is also other stuff you should be looking to avoid if you have a Hashimoto's or thyroid issue. And yeah, I kept getting myself tested regularly because here in Portugal you can just walk into any clinic on the high street and do that for quite cheap, which is wonderful. After a while I kind of plateaued. I still hadn't got completely back to where I was before, and I was still having some pain and some flare-ups with it. So what I did is I carried on researching, and I decided that I should be getting that I wanted to get everything I needed from my diet instead of taking lots of supplements forever. So after a lot of soul searching and backwards and forwards, toing and froing, I decided I would try and eat a little bit of organ meat, so cow heart and stuff, here and there. And I was surprised that after a few months I noticed that a lot of the residual symptoms and stuff had started to go. And what I did was I got all my minerals and supplements tested as well in my body, vitamins and minerals tested in my body, and found that they were all in the range they needed to be in. So I stopped taking the supplements. And then I got tested again a couple of months later, and they were still in the normal range. So I was now getting everything I needed to get from my diet. And over the course of the next year, everything started to go, all the little residual things that were there went away. And I started to feel full health all the time again. And yeah, so basically what I came to realise, and it's not something I did lightly, what I came to realise is that after 30 plus years, 33, 34 years of being a very strict vegetarian, often in those times a vegan or raw vegan as well, is that I'd finally seemed to have depleted my body of everything it needed to be completely full, happy, to function fully, which was a real surprise to me because, as I said, I was a very healthy vegetarian. I was making sure I was getting B12, eating lots of seaweed, soaking my nuts. I was having a good range of foods and things. So that was a real shocker to me. But also, I think a massive part of this is making sure that you don't have any gluten ever again. I don't actually think any human should be eating it, but some people are more susceptible to it than others. Don't have any gluten ever again, and really no soya also, because the body just doesn't seem to recognise them as food, and does all sorts of funky things with them. And I really think that's part of, it's such a massive part of everyone's diets these days, and so many more people are getting ill all the time. I just think it's one of the big things that goes towards our ill health and autoimmune conditions and stuff. So I urge you, if you have a thyroid problem, if you have an autoimmune condition, or if they run in your family or anything like that, then please stay off the gluten and the soya. And if you can stomach it, then try and eat some organ meats here and there. And it really should be organ meat, you know, all the crap from the supermarket, things like that. Not only are the animals treated really badly and full of antibiotics and hormones and stuff, but also there's just not that much nutrients in this kind of stuff either. I'm lucky enough to live somewhere where there are a lot of farmers around me and stuff, and I can get organ meat that the animals have had a good life, and you know, it's not processed crap from the supermarket. So if if you can kind of bear that, then I would, you know, get something from an organic farmer or something wherever you are, and cut it up into tiny pieces and freeze them individually, and then just have like one tiny piece a day or something, just to get the nutrients in. And then the other thing, like I said, what I was doing is taking a desiccated thyroid supplement, which I've also managed to reduce now. And my next thing, even though I actually don't notice any difference in my health, but my numbers change dramatically if I try to go down any more in the amount of tablets of that I take a day, then the numbers tell me it's not good. So the next thing is to be able to remove that completely too, though. And I really think it is possible to not have to take any kind of supplement, drug, pill, potion, lotion for the rest of your life or something. You know, they'll have you believe that you have to take thyroxine for the rest of your life, and that's just not true. You know, I managed to not be on it for many years, and I'm also not on it now, but I'm on, like I say, this natural supplement instead. But I really think that there is a way to heal pretty much everything that is going on for us. It's just that we are either toxic in body, toxic in mind, or, you know, we've accumulated or not helped ourselves in lots of different ways for many different years, for many years. So, you know, if somebody is telling you you can't heal from this and you have to just manage it or put up with it, it's rubbish. You know, we can heal. Oh, I'm using that heal word again. We can recover from almost everything. We just need to find the right tools, and we can be happy and healthy and don't have to live the way we're living. And actually, most of the time, illnesses and things come up as a way to invite us to make a change in our lives, to change the way we are doing things, thinking about things, the way we are being. And when we make those changes, massive shifts happen in our health. And I really think it's our body's way of saying, or giving a slap around the face and saying, sort your shit out, basically. Stop smoking, cut down on the drinking, stop thinking everything and everyone is bad. You know, start doing some healthy shit. If you keep doing the unhealthy shit, you're going to keep feeling unhealthy. It's quite that simple. I know it's harder in principle, but, you know, sometimes we let things slip. And so, as I did a bit with the gluten, and I was eating, obviously being vegetarian, I was eating soya probably once a week, tofu or something. And yeah, I think we need to do our research and we need to listen to our own bodies, and that's super important. Most of us are not listening to our bodies. Most of us know there's something off. Most of us know that every time we eat, I don't know, bread, something funky happens in us or something, and we just keep disregarding it. So if nothing else comes from this little waffle of mine about Hashimoto's, then do try and listen to your own body, and not to me, not to Joe Blogs down the street, not to anyone else. Just listen to yourself, listen to your own body. What's it saying to you? And yeah, and that's all from me today, and I will speak to you all soon. Ciao for now.